as always, bringing you nothing but the best. Now, tonight's guest, is one of the absolute best basketball players, not only to play in his hometown of Peoria, not only to play at the University of Illinois, but one of the greatest to have ever played in the state of Illinois, period. Period, ladies and gentlemen. He's a four-time state champion at Peoria Manual. There's very few people that can say that. In 1997, he was also Mr. Basketball for the state of Illinois before going on to play at the University of Illinois. And we'll get into a little bit of this conversation because Peoria has been a hotbed for basketball in this state for many, many, many years. And we'll let him talk about some of the best, and we also going to talk about his old man. We got my man on the mic tonight, Sergio McClain. What's up, baby? Way to join your man tonight. I so appreciate you joining me.
Thank you, Dean. Thanks for having me. It's an honor, bro. It's an honor to share the stage with you, man.
Oh, no, the honor is mine. Believe me, honor is mine. As I said, one of the best to ever do it in this state, man. And to be quite honest, people will say it. I don't think you get the notoriety that you should. I mean, you were, now, of course, after me, but I will still keep up with Illinois basketball, state of Illinois high school basketball, even when I was gone across the water. And that's what was so impressive about what you guys did over at Manual. As I mentioned, four-time state champions. Now, when you walked in as a freshman, we're going way back. I got to get in your memory banks here. What was that start? You know, because you weren't just a basketball player. You did a bunch of other stuff too. But what was the start for you when you got into basketball? Was that your first love?
Yeah, I think basketball definitely was my first love. I think it was interesting. A lot of African American kids in Peoria at that time were playing baseball. So wow. You know that we played baseball real tough. Like baseball, honestly, was first option over any other sport, whether it be in the Sandlot Alley or whatever, going playing stickball, wiffle bats with racquetballs, with the boxes on the brick walls at school. Wherever we could get it in, that's what we did. St. Louis and Cardinal fans. We had the Peoria Chiefs, which was a semi-pro baseball team, and in Peoria at the time, and able to go to a lot of games and watch the Cubs and Cardinals. So, baseball probably was the first option, but basketball was always my love, and then came football.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I can feel you on the baseball. That was my first love. I started off playing baseball, as you mentioned, playing strike 'em out with the square on the wall. A lot of people, of course, where we're from, that's a norm. A lot of kids that are into baseball get to play multiple positions. So you were in love with baseball, and I have to say this, man. I know you're on that dividing line of Cards, Cubs, but come on, man. We got to get you to be a Cubs fan. I remember when I moved down.
I am a Cubs fan.
Oh, okay. Woo! Sergio, I was a little nervous there, man.
I'm a diehard Cubs fan, man. I go way back to Andre Dawson and Brian Sandberg, Mark Grace, Leon Smith, the Wild Thing, Lee Smith, man. Come on, bro. Like Sean Dunston. I grew up on that.
I throw my hands up, bro. Nothing but love. I was a little nervous there when I heard you mention the Cards. I'm like, the Cards? I was like, you're not at that cutoff line yet. But I guess, yeah, Serge, I'll take it. Nothing but love. I'm a big Cubs fan myself. And like you, I go way back. Even when we sucked, I was a Cubs fan. That's when you know where the heart lies. But so you said football also. So did you play football also at Manual?
I played football. I played football in grade school, and they wanted me to play football varsity freshman year
Wow.
at Manual. And my dad gave me an ultimatum. He said I could play football, but as long as I play football, I would have to come in and work out with him after football practice. And that was a HE double hockey sticks no.
well, Illini Nation, you know when Coach McClain said you were coming in to work out, you wasn't just coming in to shoot jump shots. You were coming in actually.
You were coming in to die. Okay, you was experiencing death and re-rising. Okay, he was blowing breath back into your lungs after he killed you.
Exactly. You got to come in with your hard hat on. So I couldn't see. So I understand you saying no. Then you're going from a football practice to have to go out and do a Wayne McClain workout. No, I probably wouldn't have done that one either, man. But I'll tell you this: I'm glad you didn't play. I'm glad you didn't play football. Now, you definitely had the build because you were one of those guys that came out of high school right into Illinois. And you've heard him mention it, say, man, he already has a Big Ten body. I can be one. I can tell you, I didn't have that. I didn't have a Big Ten body. I was 185 pounds when I stepped on campus at Illinois. What was you, about 215?
Man, I was about 245, 250 coming in.
Ooh. So you was ready to already get out there and thump and bump.
Yeah, I was 245, 250, but I was a clean 215, 220 at going into the end of my senior year. And when I got injured, I tore my trapezius muscle. People don't even know I tore my trapezius muscle during the state championships. And I played with a slightly torn trapezius in my senior year in the quarterfinal, all the way to the last game. And I was trying to recover from that. And I played in the Magic Johnson game after that. Didn't work out for 2 or 3 weeks after we won state.
Right. And
didn't work out. Got invited to that and try to play in that with the still injured, So I started out at Illinois with an injury, a severe injury.
No, that's one that normally requires surgery. So I'm going to assume you did not have surgery on that, or did you have it at Illinois?
Nope. Self-healed.
Wow. Well, I'd say this. Let's go backwards before we go forwards, because you on those state championship teams played with 2 fellow Illini, well, what would become fellow Illini, and Marcus Griffith and Frankie Williams. How was it? Let's do this. Let's go back even further. Let's talk about some of the talent that has come out of Peoria, because people from Peoria recognize this. Me being from Chicago, everybody always talks about the talent that comes out of Chicago, but there's a history of talent coming out of Peoria and going to Illinois. I mean, the Tony Weissingers. I mean, the Doug Aldenbergers. The Doug Aldenbergers. There's been a long history of Illinois players coming from Peoria. How does Peoria, or what does Peoria do to breed so many great athletes? Because it's not just basketball players. You guys have had athletes across the board.
Well,
you can look at Chicago, because Chicago's huge. I mean, you got 4 or 8 people in the Chicagoland area, but Peoria doesn't have that. But you still are able to turn out great players, both male and female.
Yeah, I think how Texas is with football.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's how Peoria is with basketball. It was really Friday Night Lights for real, And I was just blessed enough to have a father that was an assistant coach at Manual when I was young. So I'm 7, 8, 9 years old, and I'm the basketball manager on the team.
Wow.
So, I'm amongst the likes of my brothers, my bigger brothers, my mentors. like Curtis Stuckey, all-time leading scorer in Bradley University history. He was an all-time leading scorer at Drake in 2 years. Came to Bradley and broke that record at Bradley in 2 years. David Booth, DePaul University, one of the top scorers at DePaul, went on to play professional. He's now I think he's like a vice president of the Western Conference in the NBA, doing something there with them. Lynn Collins. Lynn Collins went to Arizona State, played with Larry Johnson in junior college, won a national championship in junior college. Lynn was probably one of the first players that was a big guard that I had seen. 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", 205, 210 pounds, straight raw muscle, speed, and could jump. And this is kind of a nucleus of a group of guys that went D1. You had Demetrius Clemens on that team that played at Northern Illinois. Sean Wright, I forgot where Sean Wright, Tom Wilson went to Bradley. That 88, 89 group of guys that was kind of the nucleus of who I saw coming in, and they were number one in the nation at one time. 33-0 or something like that at one time. I lost to Quincy downstate, but I got to go downstate. I was at Assembly Hall at the ages 19, seeing you guys playing, seeing Simeon being in power and coming out of power, and Chicago King coming into power, and them going out of power, and East St. Louis winning 3 state championships in a row. Then Proviso West winning back-to-back state championships and beating Manual one year to have Howard Nathan, who was a Mr. Basketball. And over the years, I'm 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going through all these disappointments at Manual as a ball boy, until it was finally my turn. And to catch up on what you said, what my mindset was in my freshman year, my mindset was to follow in the footsteps of Howard Nathan, as far as I want to be able to start as a freshman, because I knew that Howard was a D1 player and Howard was a pro. So I wanted the steps that he did. Okay, Howard Nathan started as a freshman at Manual High School. That is rare for a teenager at the age 13, 14 to come in at Manual High School in Peoria and run a team, and that was important to me. So I came in, and that was my goal to start. But I went from starting to winning a championship all in one my freshman year. So everything Howard had done, I had already done in my freshman year.
Right. Well, I mean, it's always good to have rabbits. It's always good to have somebody to chase. And you had, as you mentioned, you just ran down a whole slew of dudes that, to be quite honest, I had forgotten about, and some names that I had not heard before. But you had that rabbit to chase, but at the same time, not just the rabbit, you had one of the best coaches in the state of Illinois in your house. So can't get through an interview with Sergio McClain without talking about Wayne McLean. What was that influence for you? Like you said, you were able to watch while you were growing up, while he was assistant coach at Manual, but you had a ready-made encyclopedia of basketball, in your house every day. What was you guys' relationship like? And me knowing Coach McClain the way I did, I'm sure he was pushing you and your brother pretty hard.
The expectations were ridiculous. High, it's hard for a kid to grow into the expectations that my dad had for me. And it wasn't like he force-fed basketball to me. That was an original love and a passion. Once he saw that I had that passion, he was like, okay, you're either going to do it the right way or you're not going to do it at all.
Right.
And his right way was, it's like, I mean, he had all 5 Dragon Balls, man. Like, I mean, it's just ridiculous of like how he could just come up and customize and make a drill that can customize you right there in real time. And you would think that this drill was been run for 10 or 15 years, and he just introduced it and created it right then and there off the top of his head.
Hey, you had a
You know,
basketball savant, man. I mean,
yeah,
whew.
you know, and it was amazing just to be around an individual, you know, who not only was a great basketball coach, but a great leader in the community, creating jobs for people, you know, you know, being in a position to be financially stable where he could go to the bank and take out 500 to two grand and go spend it on kids and people, buying them coats and, you know, buying them clothes and buying them shoes, buying them groceries, you know what I'm saying? Doing stuff like that, you know, throughout the community and with the kids at Manual. You know, he could see a kid wearing the same clothes 3 or 4 days in a row and so, hey, come here. And the kid think he's in trouble or something. He goes to the office and dad has 5 or 6 outfits for him and, you know, 3 or 4 packs of drawers and socks, you know, and 2 or 3 belts and, you know, bars of soap and toothbrush, you know, just taking care of him and teaching him, hey, hygiene, how to be a man. You know, they don't do it now, but he enforced, you could not leave his gym class unless you took a shower.
There you go. But see, and that's one of those things, you know, that not just the people at Illinois loved about your dad, but I'm sure the people in Peoria and in that surrounding area loved about your dad because it wasn't just basketball for him. It was about life. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
he used basketball in order to teach young men life skills. You know,
Right.
so he was, you know, and that's why, you know, we were fortunate enough to have him at the University of Illinois. I mean, because he did that same thing. So you had him from high school and then at Illinois when you and Frankie and all those guys came over to Illinois at the same time, and then he was able to be there, you know, at and teaching kids the same way he had taught you guys. What was that like? How did that feel to be able to have, you know, be able to play for your dad, not just in high school, but in college as well?
I actually didn't get to play for him in college, Dion.
I thought you played one
No,
year with him.
no, Pete. Uh, when I was at Illinois, assistant coaching job came up open twice while I was playing at Illinois, and I used to go to Gunther all the time and have meetings with Gunther, telling him how important it was to have Wayne McClain on our staff, and that, you know, he would be great for us right now when Kruger was there, because, you know, a lot of people don't understand when Kruger was there, man, it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy experience for us African Americans. You know, I don't think he was used to the type of kids that he had at the University of Illinois at the time, and it was very tough times for us at that time to coexist in one algorithm, you know, during that time, and, you know, just hoping to have somebody like Dad there to help make them understand, you know, these are some inner city kids, you know,
Right.
regardless of them having good grades or this person, you know, my son being a coach's son, he still comes from a certain environment.
Right.
These kids come from a certain environment, and you guys are understanding. So having a guy like him coming in and kind of being the mediator and balancing that and actually tapping in to something in us that other coaches couldn't tap into to make us play harder. You know, that was something that I was begging Gunther and them to bring in while I was there, because I knew if he would have been on staff, we would have been national championship ready early.
Right. So, right, because now that I think about it, because Kruger was there 1 year, then Bill Self came there. And don't ask me how I forgot Bill Self was at the University of Illinois. I feel like I did not to them. So, yeah, so that you would have missed because your father came in with Bruce, right?
Right. No, he actually came in with, after I graduated, Bill hired my father.
Okay.
So when I left, he came in.
Okay. See, that's what happens when you're in Spain, when you still
Mhm.
and you're trying to follow everything from abroad. I mixed everything up. Well, thank you for the clarification, Big Dog. But I'll tell you this: having your dad on that staff and knowing what he did, as you mentioned, not just for you, but what he was doing in Peoria, to have him be able to do that for those players at Illinois, I'm sure was huge. But you did have an opportunity, and please tell me I'm not wrong, to play with Frankie and with Marcus, though, right? I know you played with Marcus.
Correct.
You just celebrated you guys, which we'll get into, and then Frankie was on that team as well. Okay, so I got to get all my dates together. I'm the one that's a little twisted up here. That's what happens when you hit 50, Serge. So,
Yeah. I hear you.
no, tell me this. How was it to, and we'll talk about the being recognized as the 2001 2002 Big Ten tournament, Big Ten champions rather, and then going on to the Elite Eight. But how was it playing with your teammates? See, I wasn't fortunate enough to play with any of my teammates from high school. I was the only one from Simeon at that time to go to Illinois. But how was it to play with your guys? I'm sure it made it easier because you were able to build up that camaraderie after so long.
It was an interesting dynamic, because for 4 years, for 4 years I played with Griff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then for 3 years I played with Frank. But when I left Manual, I was the only one that came to Illinois.
Right.
You know, Griff had to go to junior college, so I didn't get to play with Griff for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Frank was a Prop 48, so I didn't get to play with Frank for 2 years. So the first time we got back out on the court together and finally played together was my junior year at Illinois.
Right.
You know, and it took a minute to get a rhythm back. It took a minute, you know, because I'm so used to playing with other players that you know, no disrespect, but you know, they weren't as skilled and had the basketball IQ that those two had when I played at Manual. So it was a lot easier to rock with them on the court just off of basketball IQ and just knowing the game and you know, just knowing how to win a war in certain situations. I had to figure out that identity again when I came to Illinois and was around a different group of individuals, and you know, a lot of these individuals were from Central Illinois, so the basketball was different.
Yeah.
You know, playing with guys from Chicago and you know, playing with guys from down south. You know, so it took a minute to really figure stuff out again, man.
Well, I can understand that. That's always one of the hardships, especially when you come in as a freshman and then you're starting to learn and turn things over because you have so many different influences coming in and different styles of play and things of that nature. And that's where coaching is huge. You know, the coach a lot of time has to really be able to put things together. You know, they're like the band leader. You know, and if the band leader don't know how to be the orchestra, don't know how to put that music together, then it sounds bad. You know, but
Right.
you know, but it's also but you guys were successful. I mean, and that was the thing. I guess it took time to build that success, but you were successful. And I mentioned the 2001-2002 team, which we just celebrated you guys on campus. What was that run like? What was that 2001 season like when you guys got ready for preseason and got in there and started working out? What was the mindset of the team? Did you guys know how good you were when you first started out, that year first began?
Mm-hmm. Yep. We knew how good we were. We were figuring out our identity. It was just pieces at the time. And I think the most important piece, and God has his way of working things, but I think the most important piece is when Coach Kruger, got the head coaching job with the Atlanta Hawks. And we received Bill Self, and Kruger was a great X&O coach, and he had a high basketball IQ. He gave us a good foundation. But when Self came up in there, he was more what's the word? He was more of a player's coach.
Okay.
He's more of a player's coach, and he had a better sense of personal relationship with African American players.
Okay.
He had a better relationship where his philosophies and his tactics brought the best out of us.
So he really let you guys play to your strengths. You think that, because I watch Kansas play now, and when you watching those guys play, it looks like everyone's having fun. They're doing what they know how to do. Was that kind of his same philosophy when you played for him at Illinois?
I don't think it was he let us play, because he had his offense as well, which was high low, and it was sort of like how you see Illinois right now, where you got predominantly ball screen and Kofi diving and reversal and over the top, or from the wing over the top, and then playing off of that. That was pretty much our offense as well. I think what Coach Self brought was that tenaciousness. He brought that gangster back out of us, as far as just being lions and dogs on the floor. And, one thing that I learned and I appreciated from Self was that he taught us the detail and skill development. We weren't getting that type of skill development until he came in. Like, I didn't know what a cheat step was, and shot, dunk, reverse. Always, every time you catch, you look in the score. His offense being open enough to, be able to catch the ball and wheel and deal, and either create something for yourself, or they're going to have to help. Right. And where everybody is. So
right.
That was a beautiful thing. And I just take those little jewels, man, and I just put them in my back pocket, bro. And I put them in my little pocket here, and then I got a lot of, man, I got some interesting chest of jewels, man, from just basketball, learning from people like that, man. Is just and Coach Weber, man, and I had Joey Meyer, the Meyer family out of DePaul. I played for Joey Myers in the MBDL. You said my dad was a great high school coach, but his coach at Manual was the head coach. His head coach was my head coach my freshman year at Manual.
Oh, wow.
Right, and he was the winningest coach in Illinois history at a time. At my freshman year, he became the winningest coach in Illinois history and won his first championship in like 40 or 50 years of coaching.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so I've been around some great coaches, man. As far as just picking up the knowledge and you know, being able to sit here and have a conversation where I can actually tell you what was the difference between Bill Self and Alon Kruger. It was that skill development piece, and you know, just his angle work was tremendous as far as how to just get stuff over the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and making a team adjust on the weak side and having a weak side action while you're looking for that. So it's hard to help, and if they do help, whoever's helping, man, is going to be open.
Right.
You know, so just seeing that from the wing, catch it from the wing. Okay, I'm looking over the top. Oh, I see that guy playing back behind the guy. So I'm going to take a drive to the middle, and I'm going to kick to that guy in the corner, which probably is Corey Bradford,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or Sean Harrington, or, you know, or Frank Williams.
Yeah,
you know,
three great shooters and scorers, man. So I got before we move on to the next topic, let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at BetRivers Sportbook. If you haven't signed up with BetRivers yet, now's the time, because they are offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. But what sets them apart is that they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With basketball season in full swing, get in on the action by joining BetRivers.com today, or by downloading the BetRivers iOS app. You must be 21 years or older, and if you're suffering with a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. You know, what you're saying now, Serge, really leads me to our next topic. You know, and I have to say, I didn't have an opportunity to watch a lot of your games because I was overseas at the time. But as I did my homework and watched you, you know, prior to you guys, to me going over to Europe, I thought you had a game that was suited to play at the next level. But you didn't really put a lot of effort into playing at the next level, because I think you have a coach's mind. Mm-hmm. So can we talk a little bit about that transition from college and what you were thinking about, if you were thinking about playing a long time at the next level, or was it, you know, coming from your household, was coaching always one of those things that you saw yourself doing?
I was always a coach on the floor. And I think sometimes it what's the word I'm looking for? It caused me to be reserved, a conservative a lot, because I knew how coaches thought. So if I've missed 2 shots, you know, or if I miss 3, a normal person, I keep on shooting. You know, me, I'm like, you know, I didn't hit my first 2 shots, you know, percentages, you know, I'm going to hit one tonight, but how many is it going to take me? You know, so, and, you know, so, and I was a lot more conservative, and played cautious a lot, and was more about being efficient. Mm-hmm. So if I had 6 points, I could have shot more. Yes, I could have shot more, but hey, I went 2 for 3, or I went 2 for 5. I had 11 rebounds. I had 7 assists. You know, it's a good night. And we got the W. You know, I was 3 for 4, you know, or I might be one for 5 and got like 6 or 7 points on the free throw line. You know, so my goal, I wasn't coming in with the mindset of trying to score 30 points. Now that I'm older and wiser and knowing I could have done that and been a little more selfish, and they could have saw a different me on the floor. But at the
Right.
time, I was just trying to keep everybody happy, bro.
Well, and
People, people don't.
that was one of the things I saw though. I thought because you had a big time scorer on the team like Frankie, and like you mentioned Corey Bryant. I thought you were the perfect and we talk about glue guys. I thought you were perfect in that role because you made everybody else good. I mean, I thought you did a great job at, like you said, you may not have had 30 points, but you had 7, 8 rebounds. You had some steals. You played solid defense. You did all of those other things that made this team successful. Would you agree with that?
Because that was the need.
Right. And that's
That
my
was the
point.
need. Right,
You recognize what was necessary to win.
right. That the need for me on that Illinois basketball team was not to score 20 or 30 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
If that was the need, I could have done it.
Right.
Could have done it. I think for a while it was frustrating for me to be a Mr. Basketball, be a 4-time state champ, and feeling like I'm taking a back seat at my home university in order to make other people happy. That
Right.
I think that was the hardest part for me. At the University of Illinois is stepping out, and I'm being real, stepping away from my throne and taking my crown off and sharing it with everybody. That was hard because you know what you can do,
Right.
and you're telling the coach, man, I can go out here and get 18 and 15 and 8 assists every night if you just let me go. Or you call my number, and that was the hard part. But I as you're a winner, you're losing games, and you're losing games, and you're losing games, and you're sitting back and you're watching film, and it's loose balls. And you're sitting back and you're watching film and it's defense. And you're sitting there and you're watching film and you're getting beat on the offensive boards. Or you're getting whooped on rebounds period. Your turnover to assist ratio is bad as a team. Okay, these are the things that are beating us right here. So these are the things that who on this team can help us get into this position where if we get these small things, we have a chance to win. Nobody wants that job.
Right.
Nobody wants that job. Okay, fine. Nobody want to do it. I'll do it. But you understand, working is hard gets me tired. That I might not have nothing for offense.
Right.
You guys got me playing 1 through 4. You got me playing the point guards, the shooting forward, and you got me guarding the bigs. All in one game.
But that's why I said the perfect glue guy, man. I mean, you guys, and I think you'll understand this. When we were at this last event when they were honoring the team, did you hear the ovation you got? It was just as loud as anyone else's ovation, and I think that's because people recognize that, like you said, you took your crown off, but you took your crown off so you guys could be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And you were successful, and I think in large part because you did do that, because you understood. And this is why I asked you if you thought about playing afterwards, or you thought of just being a coach, because you were already thinking like a coach out on the floor. You were already thinking like a coach and saying, okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z to make sure that we're successful. I mean, I know playing it back now is a little bit different than when you're actually in it, but your role, in my opinion, and you can tell me what you think about it, I thought your role, and I think it is still today, is is what makes Illinois or what made your team successful. I mean,
Mhm.
this year's team, and you tell me a yes or no. If DeMonte and Granderson don't play the way they play, are we as successful as we are as a team?
No,
You
no,
know, yeah, and that was you. No?
right. I look at my little nephew now and I tell him, I'm like, yo, bro, you need to go watch some of your uncle's games. You
Yeah.
know, go watch some of the game because I appreciate what he does, but at the same time, you want a guy like that to win.
Yes.
Because he's the reason, he's the main reason why they are getting W's and winning Big Ten championships. But he's not. I'm sorry, like DeMonte Williams needs to be shooting 10 to 12 shots a game. He's the best 3-point shooter in the nation, and you don't have no looks for him. This kid was a point guard, and he's showing that he can do it. You know what I'm saying? But I can tell me, in order for Illinois to win, DeMonte Williams has to step up and be dominant as far as coming off the screens, knocking down shots, being able to take the ball on the wing or rip it through, bump with his shoulders, hitting step backs, attracting and he does that well. If you watch, DeMonte Williams already knows where the ball's going to go when it touches his hands for helping other people look good. My question is DeMonte Williams stepping up and emphasizing what he's learned to the other players, that when they catch the ball, they're doing the same thing?
I can answer that question for you because I think it's a great question. Last year, I had a conversation with Andre Curbelo.
Mm-hmm.
And this was towards the end of the year when, you could see his game starting to evolve and him getting better. I say, hey, Andre, what brought this along? What's going on? He was like, what I've learned from my big brothers, and he mentioned DeMonte first. Then he went on to mention Io, and he went on to mention Trent. He was like, what I have learned from them is going to help me be the player I want to be. So I think DeMonte looks at it a lot like you did at that time is, okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z so we can win. Because you're right.
Mm-hmm.
He was a second in field goal percentage in the nation last year. I started off a little slow this year, but we all know he can shoot the ball and that'll pick back up. So I'm not concerned about him and his shooting of threes at all. But he's in that position with all of the injuries and illnesses where he's had to take on a lot more, and he's done a heck of a job at doing it. He's I love DeMonte, so I mean there ain't a whole lot I can say. He's always my X factor. As long as he's in there, and he's always in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. And I think you were he's a very similar player to what you were for Illinois, and that's why they were successful. So, that 2001 team, we had you guys back, had a big round of applause, and of course, we had some fun too. How did that feel being able to be back on campus? I mean, not that it's something new for you because you're back on campus a lot, but having the Orange Crush and the people show their appreciation for you.
Ah, man, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling, and just to be back and being welcome back. Feeling it's not. I mean, that was my house. I used to live there.
That still
You know
is
what
your
I'm
house,
saying?
bro. That
Right.
still is your house.
So being able to just come back, after dad got fired, from Illinois. I mean, I haven't seen a locker room. I haven't seen an assembly hall. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen all the upgrades, so just to come back and just to see, what the seeds that we dropped and the harvest that is grown off of it is awesome. It's awesome. This is exactly what I came to Illinois for when they sat there and, I turned down $3.5 million from another university to come to Illinois. I turned down being coached by Bobby Knight to come to Illinois. I turned down a Rick Pitino at Kentucky to come to Illinois, a UCLA, and a Cincinnati with Huggins, all great places, and the thing that sold me with Illinois, I wasn't worried about playing time or anything. I was one top 20 in the nation. I wasn't worried about that. They asked me to come there to help build, and I could have went somewhere else and had it a lot easier and stepped into financial stability right off the bat, stepping into winning tradition right off the bat, stepping into a easy life, and for them to ask me to come help build and put them at the level of these other places that I had went to, that was my goal. That was my goal, and it still is my goal. So to see where we started at, I know where you used to practice at, Huff. You know what I'm saying? And Impy.
Yep.
I caught that. I was telling people this other day, I was like, man, do you understand my freshman year? When we won a Big Ten championship my freshman year, I had to go over to Huff, and we shared a locker room with the wrestling team.
Yep.
And we had to get dressed in our shorts, tape, everything, sweatshirt, tank top, and jog over to Impy for practice, and it'll be 0 below outside.
Yep.
To these guys having the comfort now to sit here and drive up to their practice facility or catch the bus to their practice facility and able to work out and train and do everything in one facility, where we were having to go all across campus in the cold doing that type of stuff. And I experienced that for 1 year, so I understand, how grateful that was. But man, bro, stepping to Illinois, man, and being able to see the blueprints to them building, man, that's crazy. And forgive me, it's on the tip of my tongue. What's our practice facility?
Oh my God, you and me both. The oven practice facility.
Okay, so when we signed with Illinois, the Peoria Boosters built oven. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there with a hard hat on, walking through there where it's brick and rubble, man, and having say so on the building an oven and things of that nature, man, with the backing of Peoria orange and blue. So University of Illinois is a lot deeper than me, a lot bigger than me than what most people would think. I look at it, I won 2 Big Ten championships at the University of Illinois.
Yep.
2 Big Ten championships. I leave there, my dad comes in and wins 4 more.
On top of
4
getting
more.
the championship game. Yeah.
So I think what we have 15 Big Ten championships total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Mclean era has 6 of them.
Says a lot, baby. Says a lot.
Yes. So, like I said, I believe this a lot deeper than most people could even fathom.
Oh, trust me, I completely understand where you're coming from. I got a question for you. You've seen this year's team play. I know you watched that beat down of Missouri because I did. What do you think so far? What are you liking? What are you disliking? What's your thoughts about the team so far, and where do you think they end up?
I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like there has to be identity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they built their identity yet. As far as them, they got to be tougher.
Yeah,
they got to be tougher. They got to be mentally tougher. They got to. I'm looking for them to adjust better.
right.
Adjust better. Me personally, being a coach, I would like to see. I would like to see more sets ran for the shooters. You
Mm-hmm.
know, off of screens by Kofi. You
Right.
know, tail ends of situations where we're getting a shooter coming off a screen with Kofi where we can get a slip or get a wide open shot. You know, I would like to see us, if we're going to do ball screens, I would like to see us do a lot more ball screens from the wing
Right.
with Big Boy. You know, just changing the angle and the dynamics of the game. I think right now everything is north and south, and when it is east and west, all we're looking for is a situation over the top or dumping it in and playing off of it with a lot of standing around. I would like to see more movement with these guys. You know, with the type of players we have and the athleticism and the height and length. You know, I think it would cause a lot more situations where it'll be a lot more isolation for Kofi if they were moving around a lot more. You know.
Okay. So you like to see more movement, more ball screens. I had someone tell me as we were talking about this team, to give me a comparison of, teams from the past.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my guests used your 2001 team
Mm-hmm.
to kind of describe this team and the depth of this team, the versatility of this team. And they used your 2001, 2002 team. Do you see any comparisons between the two?
I could, yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, when you look at Hawkins, that's like a Brian Cook.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Kofi is his own.
Yeah. He's a he's a horse of a different color.
Right. Kofi is his own, but do I see him dominating if we play head to head? I don't see him dominating Griff. And I see Griff giving him some problems on the other side due to the fact that Griff had tremendous footwork.
Right. Well, no,
You
not
know,
necessarily in a head-to-head, but just comparisons
yeah.
of how your team played to how this team plays.
Yeah, they definitely had a depth. They definitely had a depth. Defensively, they're not there yet. They're not there yet. I haven't. I wouldn't. And man, it's hard to have confidence if the game got ugly with them. You understand what I'm saying? Like if it had to come down to, man, the offense ain't nothing going for us offensively, but we're still in the game and we're winning it on the defensive side every play, and it's just grind, punch nose basketball. It's going to be ugly, but at the end, we're so tough at what we're doing that no matter how we play or how ugly or how bad we're playing, we're still in the game and we have an opportunity to win at the end. And that was the difference between that team and our team.
Yeah, I think your team is probably, well, our generation, and you're younger than me, is cut from a different cloth. We grew up playing outside, hooping in the snow, having, you look at AAU now, which it came around when you were playing, but you guys grew up in a different environment. You guys grew up like I did, playing against dudes that was older than you, that was kicking your butt. So you had a different mentality. And I think that's where it comes different and it comes difficult to compare generations, because these guys have played, 15U, 16U, 17U, and they end up playing against a lot of the same people. Some of them may play up a little bit or down, but you're pretty much playing the same thing. So I get what you're saying. And even coaches said, yeah, they need to be tougher. They need to do these things. So I agree with you 100%. So I'd say this, and I got this question for you. With New Year's just passing, all right, and we all got that New Year's resolution. Or at least I didn't do one this year, because I always seem to break that crap after about 2 weeks. What would be your New Year's resolution for this Illinois basketball team?
Man, of course, I want to win a Big Ten championship.
Oh yeah,
I
think that's coming.
Definitely get past the second round of the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I really, it's crazy to say, man, because I mean it just depends on who they catch and what time they catch them.
Right.
But I do see this team is at least an Elite Eight team and possibly a Final Four, depending on who they catch and what they're doing. I mean, can they beat a Gonzaga right now? Those things I'm looking at, and I'm really looking at the Big Ten and seeing how they finish the Big Ten, because the Big Ten is strong this year.
Yeah.
So that definitely is important how they finish with the Big Ten, and because I mean the Big Ten really is one of the probably top 3 leagues in the nation right now.
Agreed. Well, big fella, I appreciate you hopping on with me, man. I always like to do this and give the last minute to my guests, so you can address the Illini Nation however you want. So the mic is yours, Serge. Speaking to Illini Nation, do your thing, baby.
Okay. All right, Illini Nation. What is Sergio McClain currently doing right now? I am running my father's foundation. He passed away in 2015. It was the 217309 Pipeline Foundation. Before he passed away, we established in 2011. We did after-school programs. We have foster grandparent programs where we have elderly individuals, retired individuals, professionals coming into the classrooms and kind of helping the teachers and the TAs with the kids and seeing where they are at and helping them by being an ambassador. We have the Wayne McLean Postgrad Basketball Academy for ages 18 to 22, who kids that aren't getting exposure in high school and feel they still have a chance to play D1. We established a schedule where they're playing junior colleges, D1s, D2s, D3s, and they take 8 free credit hours at the University of Illinois, and they go to Parkland and take part-time classes over there, and you can be in a postgrad basketball academy for 2 years and still have 4 years of eligibility left. So that's something we're doing right now. We've paused on that due to COVID, but that's something we're still looking forward towards in the future. So that we do basketball clinics. That's about it. That's what I'm running right now. Is Dad's foundation and trying to establish a legacy. Just being a father at the end of the day. I have a 20-year-old son that I've been with ever since I left the University of Illinois. Found out I was going to be a dad going into the Kansas game in the Sweet 16.
Wow.
I forget that, man. And it's been a father ever since. But just want to thank everybody that has supported me personally, and supported my family, supported the foundation, and just appreciate the love. I can go anywhere in the United States or overseas and always run into some orange and blue, and they always show love, appreciation, and I'm proud that I was able to be a part of your lives and bring more joy than sorrow most of the time with the W's. But
there you go, baby.
I'm just appreciative that I'm able to be blessed enough to be in a position where I'm able to change people's lives and change the mood of people's spirits and help them and encourage them to be mentally tougher and stronger individuals and have hope and faith. If anybody is interested in helping donate to the Wayne McClain Pipeline Foundation, our foundation is online. It's WAYNEMCCLAINPIPELINE.
There you go.
Go on our foundation page and go to the donation. We're a 501c3, right off the whole nine. Just know that you're giving scholarships to kids for basketball clinics. You're helping us pay for professionals to mentor kids. You're helping to provide finances for after school programs and help kids get off the streets and away from this gun violence and drug and prostitution. Thank you. This is what I guess you could say this is what an education from Illinois gets you, man. It's more than just the basketball bouncing. And I saw that, and I appreciate everything you guys have done to help mold me. And I'm a president and chairman of a foundation, and from the University of Illinois. We're from the streets of Peoria. Thank you.
Serge, I tell you this, man, I appreciate you. Illini Nation he gave you the information for the foundation, but you can reach out to Serge on his Twitter page as well. It's at Peoria_King. So it's at Peoria King. You can find him on Twitter. But Serge, I appreciate it, man. And I'm proud of you for following in your dad's footsteps and saving kids, man, and offering opportunities to young people that probably did not have them. What you are doing will save more lives than what a lot of people can even dream of doing. So much appreciated, brother. I appreciate you joining us tonight, as always. And for Illini listeners, as I tell you before, if you haven't caught the Field of 68, make sure you go on and check them out on Twitter, on Instagram, as well as on all of the media networks. It's Field of 68 Media. Find them, give them a listen, like, subscribe, any of the podcasts. It covers the 68 top programs in the country. And of course, your University of Illinois is one of them. And this is brought to you by my sponsors over at BetRivers Sportsbook. Without BetRivers, this does not happen. So I am appreciative to you fellas or the company for all of the love, for all of the support, for allowing me to be able to share great gifts and stories and time with great players like Sergio McClain and others that have been on here. You've heard some great stories tonight. Again, go on, check out my boy Serge, check out what he's doing. He's doing a great job, great work over in Peoria. And the Illini Nation, love, peace, and hair grease. Appreciate you.